Okay, I went ahead and cut out the rest of the arms, drilled the holes, and I even made the larger hole, and I only go halfway through. On the larger hole, I only drill halfway through with the bit. That way there's meat sticking on it, and it doesn't weaken the arm too much, but it also gives the arm a breakaway point. And then you should be able to screw in to the threaded rod from the top. Let's go ahead and cut the threaded rod. Use the old screw gun. Pipe cutter method. So what we want to do, find a appropriate length. What if we did it three inches, be about 7.5 centimeters. And we have our landing gear. Like that. So when it's actually built, it will just sit on those legs and prop us up off the ground. And it's pretty, these are pretty rigid. And then when we are able to put a screw through here, let's see, for instance, this guy, these are 3 millimeter, 0, these are 2.88, so let me see what I got. .69. Let's go with this one. See what we can make happen. So this is a 2.69 drill bit, and I want to drill one of these out. Okay, and I want to thread a screw in it. Let's see if that's even right. No. all this does is we drilled that hole out with a 2.6 or 2.7 millimeter drill bit. Then by running a screw through it, it threads it for me since I don't have a tab. And then what I should be able to do is install it, since we drilled the hole out. Be easy when we tighten it down. Yep. Sink that screw in, firms that up, and now we got a pretty rigid landing gear. I think that'll work out well. Cheap too, very cheap. So let's get all of them. This side. So drill these out. One more. Now the drill needs threading. So we'll take another screw. Just have one right here. Where's the screw? Now just leave it. Go back here. Go back over the screw and we'll find it. Lift it uneven, we threaded it, we're not cheap. They were cheap. They were cheap. But they were good enough to pay what penny was for them. Okay. Now let's see if we can't install. There's another one. And then you'll want to do that to these as well. Screw in from the top, lock that arm in, becomes rigid, and creates landing gear. I'm going to actually undo these because I'm not ready for them. I want to go ahead and paint. I'm going to go ahead and paint my frame parts. I'm going to paint my arms, and I'm going to paint the frame plates. Paint those up. And then I'll come back. But go ahead and finish putting these in, installing those, make sure they fit. And that's what we're going to use for landing gear. The other option for landing gear that I went ahead and painted the frame plates in the arms. These are the frame plates. I have also mounted my distribution block where I wanted it. I'm not going to put the measurements on the plans because I don't know if people are going to want to run this, or if they're even going to want to run speed controls on the inside of the frame, or if they're going to want to put them out on the arm. So this isn't going to be measured for. If you want to run this and you want your wires to pop out of the bottom, I mean, just basically line it up and drill your holes. So I mounted it, drilled a couple holes, got my wires from my battery lead coming out. On the top side, we have the Cryas ZMR multi-WSC board position. This is where the center of gravity lies on this frame. It's actually a symmetric frame, but it looks spider due to the way that I have everything configured. So you'll still be able to just pick it up from end to end to balance it, but this is the center of gravity right at this point in between these four holes that are on the plans. So with that said, I'm going to put this aside. And we can go ahead and mount speed controls. The way that we're going to mount them is, well, let me just show you. I have gone ahead and gotten my motor wires and my battery wires soldered on. And I showed you how to do this in the previous step. My signals are on. All we're using is a single signal on 3 of them, and then we're using one of them as the linear back. We don't need this toward core on here. I don't know. I don't feel like taking it off right now because you either have to break it off or you have to pull the pins from the servo connector, or you have to unsolder from there. I'm just going to leave it on for right now. It doesn't hurt anything, it just adds a little weight. Anyway, motor wires are soldered on. Black for the back, reds for the front. And then I have my battery wires soldered on. You can tell I've had this together once for testing. And we can do it again. So basically, pull the signal wire. I like to pull my signal wire up between this cap. So it's kind of out of the way. We want these speed controls to sit right here. And we don't want them to come too far over to where this screw hole is, because we have that spacer that goes there. Let me get a spacer. We have one of these 1/4 inch spacers that goes right here. So we have to leave room for it. But we're going to mount it right here. And those wires tuck back like that so nothing hits. And the fronts, both fronts, you can do the same thing. Let me bring this wire up. It's going to mount right there. And you can see how I don't know if you can see or not, but what I got, negative hits there, positive hits there, positive hits there, negative. So those two sit right there. I'm just going to servo tape them down. I want to put that other heatsink on. Then I have this rear. Bring that cap back a little. It's going to sit about there, and then positive, and then negative. And these wire links you need to work out on your own. I can't give you specific links. I'm not sure how you're going to want to mount stuff. But I'm showing you a way to mount it. And then that speed control hits here, and then negative, and then positive. And then the motor wires, of course, just come out. And I can go ahead and put these in. I only sticky tape them down with this good stuff. I hope I have enough to do it. Looks like I do. Stick them on. I'm going to put this heat sink on, and I'm going to stick them on. And then I'll come back. So, let's get a razor blade. I had one out. Yeah, there we go. Under the phone. That's where I always put my razor blades. So, you know, just a decent length. Make your incision. Put it on in the back. Try to hit it on these top two fets. I'm sorry. The red side off. Oh, it's so hard. So stupid. Okay. Goes to this side. I'm able to line it up because I've had it like this once before, so I'm just going to put it where the solder points are. Solder. And press it down. And we got one installed. Do the other side. Now I have my signals. Okay, I'll talk about that. Do the other side. So this is the one that has on your BC back. What do you call it? This one for me always is much more than the others. I don't know if it's normal or it's just on bad. If I use it on bad, it's only. Again, if I get these edges off, there we go. Okay. Now you want to be closer. I want my power and ground touch because they're right next to each other. Should be good. Press. And we have front installed. Now we see back installed. And notice. That's all. Now let's go ahead and turn the sides on. I kick the iron on. I like to, when I'm dealing with these power leads, I like to use a little bit of heat. So normally I solder everything around 600 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to kick this up to about 750 just to make it easier. It goes much quicker at the higher heat, and there's less chance to screw shit up. Now I've got my bullet connectors on already and shrink tubed. I'll go ahead and do like a small video on how I do that when I do the motors. It's not hard. I know some people don't like bullet connectors, but they're handy for me. You can disconnect them, pull the arms out, and then put it all in a case for transport. It's pretty cool. Some people hate them, that's fine. If you don't like them, don't use them. If you do like them or want to use them, then I'll show you how to, or at least how I do it. It might not be the preferred or best way, but it's how I do it. But let's go ahead and get everything soldered in. On my distribution board, the outside circle are the grounds, the inside circles are the positives, or the battery power lead. I've already got a generous amount of solder on everything, so I use something to hold it, needle nose, and then I use the tip of my iron and make sure both the wire and the pad melts and liquefies, and let it flow together. Get the negative on that side, press it down, let them both flow, pull it off. Wait till it's solid, because if you bring it off before it's solid or solidifies again, you can create a cold joint. Let both melt, pull it off. With this high heat, it melts quick. You don't leave it on, just everything out, I think better, and I was going to pull it out. I have some circuit board, which is the system of circuit board. You see me record? Yeah, this is what I use because the solder actually whips in there, so you have to heat it up. Loosen that solder inside sheeting. There we go. That's always one thing, that's a little bitty guy. It'll melt right away. Sometimes you need to go ahead and put some additional solder on to make it fluff together. And that's the last one. Okay. So now all the motor connections are finished as far as power goes. And this will actually power all 4 speed controls up. So the next thing that I want to do is get all my motors together, and I want to go ahead and put the bullets on them, because this is the perfect time to spin the motors up, check for balance, check for, correct operation. So let's put some bullets on. Put this out of the way for right now. Let's get our bullet jar out. These don't come with bullets, but I have some. I buy these at Value Hobby. They're, I believe, 3.5 millimeter. And they're cheap. You get like 10 pair for a few dollars. Not bad at all. Now, the way I do bullets is helping hands. I hold the bullet, get the solder, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up this end, and I'm going to press the solder in there. I'm actually going to fill the entire center of that with solder. Again, this is how I do it. And this is repeatable on both the males and the females. So you see this one, you'll know how to do the ones for the speed controls too. So again, I'm at about 750 degrees. Place my tip on the outside of this connector. And then I just push the solder in until it melts. It takes a bit. There, it's starting to melt. And then I feed that solder in until I fill up the entire connector. The entire connector is full of solder. So next thing I do, these wires come pre-tinned. I don't use my heat shrink yet. I just hold the wire in one hand. I put the tip back on the connector, and I re-liquefy all the solder that I just placed in it, and then I feed that wire into it and then I release my tip from the connector, and then I just hold it as still as possible until the solder on the inside solidifies, capturing that wire end that I just put in. And the solder on that wire end also liquefies, just I'm not going to be able to show it. And then there's one bullet. And then we're just going to repeat the steps for those other two, and we're going to repeat those steps for all 4 motors. So